you could fix the NBA with probably just one rule change, right?
What's that?
And that would be in the rule change for me would be, instead of allowing 3 max contracts per team, you only allow 2 max contracts per team, because then people that want their money will have to spread out to other teams, and you won't just get 4 teams or 5 teams in the NBA with all of the talent. Now you'll have 10 or 12 that are probably all pretty evenly matched, and it'll come down to what quality role players you're able to attract to your team and how well then you draft.
But would that solve the problem of players still wanting to play with specific other players, though, even if it is more spread out? Because it's still going to be everyone's going to be leveraged towards a superstar rather than, again, just having each team have a shot kind of thing.
Right, you're never going to eliminate that completely, and that's been people wanting to go to certain teams to play with other players has been going on for a long time. It's just now the players have more control over it. But instead of a Chris Bosh, Dwayne Wade, LeBron James scenario, now you have to take one of those guys, and one of those guys has to play on another team.
Right, but also remember Dwayne Wade also took a pay cut there to make that happen too.
All 3 of those guys were basically max contract players. Just because they switched around who was the highest paid each year, they were basically getting all the same. It's like with the Warriors, right? You wouldn't have had Steph Curry and Kevin Durant and who else was the third max contract on that team, because that was before
Draymond Green.
Was Draymond Green a max contract?
He was a max contract, okay. Yes.
I mean, right. So instead of that, then Kevin Durant would have had to have found another team. The Warriors would have still been good, but going into those seasons, it was basically a foregone conclusion that they were going to win.
Yep.
And that wouldn't be that way if you were to say 2 max contracts per team, and then, the rest of the league would get more players. Like finally, maybe Phoenix would get a good player. Finally, maybe Charlotte would get a good player.
Right.
Because players are chasing the money, and for the guys chasing the money that want to get paid, they're going to have to go to a different city than just LA or Miami or, something like that. Also,
when you talk about the max contracts, there's 3 max contracts that you can have for a team. If you cut one of those max contracts, maybe teams will look at, I'll bring one big superstar in and bring in a bunch of good role players, and I don't need to bring in 2 superstars. And like you were saying, instead of spending the money on 2 superstars, now you have to be very creative. You need to draft right, which that means you're going to have to put more money into scouting, to going out there and trying to find the best player available in the draft.
You have to have the draft picks, too, because a lot of teams don't.
And that's why I told Mikey C, you're out of your mind if you think that the Knicks don't have a chance to get Karl-Anthony Towns if they want him. The Knicks have the most first-round draft picks in the next 5 years than any team in basketball. They have the most.
But if you were to eliminate one of the contracts and go from 3 max to 2 max on a team, right? Look how close Indiana has been to really kind of making a breakthrough in the playoffs with just guys like Doncic, Sabonis, and Oladipo, and they've put together some really solid teams with no max contract.
Right.
If they didn't have to take on 3 superstars per team, you would probably see a team like that make a deeper run or be
absolutely
better. You know what I'm saying?
Absolutely.
Look at the Celtics right now. If you had to, obviously the choice on which 2 you would keep is probably pretty obvious. But now you won't have Tatum, Gordon Hayward, Kemba Walker, and Jaylen Brown on one team. One of those guys would have to go. Right.
And by the way, I want to give the Celtics a lot of credit, and I hate the Celtics. Everybody knows, out of all the teams in all of all the Boston
years, they've done it right.
I hate Boston teams. I hate the Red Sox. I hate the Celtics, and I hate New England. Okay, but out of all the teams I hate in Boston, the team I hate the most because of Mikey C is the Celtics. I can't.
Even though Mikey C just became a Patriots fan. So.
No, he's not a Patriot fan anymore. He was never a Patriot fan. He just has a way of pissing me off. That's why he became a Patriot fan. He's not a Patriot fan. He's not. He's a Giant fan. All he talks about when we talk on the phone is about the Giants. He's not a Patriot fan. He just says that because he wants to irk me and piss me off. And that's why he says it to you guys, because he knows it pisses me off. And I think he's a front runner. But my argument here is not the Celtics. I give the Celtics a lot of credit because they made the right choice of bringing the right free agent on the market this year. Kemba Walker has been the best free agent from this offseason. He's been the best free agent from the offseason. He made the Celtics that much better. He gave the Celtics something that they haven't had in years, and that's leadership. They haven't had it. They haven't had it since Paul Pierce, Kevin Garnett, and Ray Allen.
They certainly have. I just don't. I don't. Well, here's the thing. I don't think that you're going to give credit to him anyways because, like you just said, you hate the Celtics.
I'm giving him credit.
They haven't had leadership. Al Horford was terrific.
Yeah, Al Horford. But here's the thing with Al Horford. As much as Al Horford was a leader in that locker room, he wasn't a guy that, he wasn't a superstar player. He was a good player. Al Horford was a good NBA player. He's a borderline.
That's not what you said.
What? I'm sorry?
That's not what you said.
Said what?
Talking about leadership, and
yes.
Al Horford
yes.
was a leader.
Here's the thing. If I was an NBA player right now, am I going to listen to Al Horford or am I going to listen to Kemba Walker?
That doesn't mean you can't listen to both.
I'm not saying that. I'm looking at a player. If I'm a young player and I'm watching players in the NBA right now, and I'm watching Kemba Walker, who's one of the best point guards in the NBA, and I'm looking at Al Horford, who has not been good really for the last 3 years. He's been good. He's been serviceable, but he's not a great player. Okay, who do you think I'm going to listen to? Kemba Walker or Al Horford? I'm listening to Kemba Walker.
I don't think you're giving enough credit to how these young players all looked up to Al Horford, and he was a real good leader for that team.
Not saying that he wasn't. Not saying there was. I think they've had a lack of leadership, and that's why they have not gone over the hump after making it to the Eastern Conference Finals against the Cavaliers. We have not seen him get over the hump with all those young players and pretty much stealing those players away from the Nets because.
But they also had the
Mr. King is an idiot.
They got to the finals, and then the next year, Kyrie Irving got hurt. They put their apples in the Kyrie Irving bag.
I still took him to 7 games.
Listen, I understand, and I'm not taking away from the success of the little bit of time that not Kemba Walker, Kyrie Irving was there. Okay, I'm not even taking it away from that, but I'm looking at what this team is this year. And what this team was the last couple of years, and it was missing something. It has been missing something, and that is leadership. As good as Brad Stevens is, as good as you love Al Horford, it was missing leadership. Tatum wasn't developing under Kyrie Irving and Al Horford. He wasn't.
Right, because Kyrie was a ball hog and didn't want to pass. Now that Kyrie isn't there, look at the giant leaps Jason Tatum made.
And I think it has a lot to do with Kemba Walker. I think it has a lot to do with his leadership. I think when you look at guys like Kemba Walker, people don't realize how valuable that kid is. That's why Kemba Walker, I grew up, I followed him from the Bronx when he played high school ball. I followed him when he went to UConn. And Kemba Walker, everybody knows Kemba Walker is my favorite NBA player. I love Kemba Walker. I was hurt so bad when he went to the Celtics. And I was pissed off. I was pissed off that the Knicks didn't even bother to make a move for him. They didn't even bother to make a move for him. That pissed me off. Because everybody, even Mikey C, who hated the Kemba Walker move, and I don't care what he says, he hated the Kemba Walker move. Then when they made the move, hey, I could see why they brought Kemba Walker in. It might be a good move. It was an excellent move. And to me, when you look at Kemba Walker and the leadership and what he brings to the table, and he knows how to win. He didn't win in Charlotte because he played for a crappy team. But he won a championship in the NCAA. He won for UConn. He was the best player in the tournament. So the guy knows how to win, and he developed his skills. Remember when he was drafted, I think he was drafted at 7 or 8. Remember when Kemba Walker was drafted? And everybody said, Kemba Walker, his game doesn't fit the NBA. Remember that? Mm-hmm. I remember when he came out, his game doesn't fit. Michael Jordan doesn't know what he's doing. Here's another bad draft pick. And this kid developed into a superstar player where everybody doubted him. And I'll tell you this right now. I give the Celtics a lot of credit because you want to know something? As much as I can't stand that organization, they made the right choice bringing in the right free agent because he is the right player. He was the right player that fit Brad Stevens, his defense office. Just remember something. Kemba Walker, when he came from the Charlotte Hornets, He was not a good defensive player. He wasn't even a subpar, decent defensive player. This year, go look at it. Go look at the defense and where it was rated this year. And he had a lot to do with it because he played defense this year. That has a lot to do with Brad Stevens, but it also has to do with understanding what it takes to win. Leadership. He knew he had to change his game to be a better player, and he did that. And players look up to that. Did Kyrie Irving do that? No, he did not. No, he did not. He caused trouble in the locker room.
We all got to agree Kyrie Irving is a disaster.
He is a disaster. I can't. Hey, look what he did with the Nets. And Kevin Durant can say whatever he wants. Kevin Durant will regret he went to the Brooklyn Nets. He will regret it.
If we were to interview Kyrie Irving and say, who would you want as your coach? He'd probably say himself.
He will regret it because the fact that they fired Kenny Atkinson is a joke. That was a joke. When I heard that they fired him, I would say, the Knicks better jump on this.
Please, please, please.
The Knicks better jump on this because you look at what the Nets did last year with the team that they had last year, and DeAngelo Russell, who Mike is in love with, and I said DeAngelo Russell had one good year with Kenny Atkinson. He had one really solid, great all-star.
That was his only year there with Kenny Atkinson.
It doesn't matter. He's had one great, solid year in his career in the NBA. In the 5 years he's been in the league. And Mikey loves him. Oh, you could get a lot for him. What are you going to get for DeAngelo Russell? You traded Andrew Wiggins away. And Andrew Wiggins is a much better player than DeAngelo Russell because he's been more successful in the NBA than DeAngelo Russell has. So Golden State won on that trade.
Some guys just don't fit certain teams. I mean, you'd have to agree with that, right?
Yes, absolutely. Absolutely. You're absolutely right, Jeff. You're absolutely right. I can't believe I agree with you on all this stuff.
Right, but this is why, I don't like the direction that you go with guys like Andrew Wiggins and stuff. Andrew Wiggins is a really solid player. Maybe he's just not meant to play with, Karl-Anthony Towns and play for.
You say he's a solid player. What define a solid player? Compare a player that you can compare to Andrew Wiggins that was in the league or that's in the league now. Because to me, a guy that averages 22, 23 points a game and averages about, I don't know, for a guy at his position, 6 rebounds and 3 assists or 2 assists. Those are pretty good numbers. He's better than what you say he is. I mean, Andrew Wiggins, he's not a superstar player because he hasn't gotten over the hump. But what do you average this year? 21.8.
19.4 points a game.
5 rebounds, 3 assists. I mean, exactly. It's probably exactly the numbers that I gave you. 22 to 23 points a game. 5 rebounds. I said 6.
Is terrific.
He's a good player. And I think Golden State robbed him from the Minnesota Timberwolves. They robbed him. Because to me, DeAngelo Russell is going to be traded in the offseason. They'll be lucky to get a first-round draft pick for DeAngelo Russell. And I'm not talking about a lottery pick. I'm talking about middle of the draft type of pick.
Yeah, it'll probably be more of a middle-late to a contending team, if anything.
You're not going to get a lot from him.
But that's probably what Minnesota needs more than Andrew
exactly.
Wiggins is a good point guard.
Exactly. So here's my answer to that. They're going to trade DeAngelo Russell. Why would they keep Karl-Anthony Towns? Karl-Anthony Towns has come out and said that he doesn't want to be there. He's said that he wants to go to a bigger city where he can win. Okay? Now, I'm not saying the Knicks. Now, I told that to Mikey C on the phone, which we were going back and forth, yelling at each other. You can ask him. I was yelling at him because Mikey, as much as he loves his Celtics, he is so biased with the Boston Celtics. Out of all the teams, Mikey C follows. For some reason, he has a stick stuck up his ass for the Boston Celtics.
Well, every other team he follows, he bashes them to death.
But for some reason, he loves the Boston Celtics. Oh, there's this, and that. And they can never go wrong. They can never do wrong. So, and he tells me DeAngelo Russell this and that the Knicks don't have a chance for Karl-Anthony Towns. And my answer to Mike is, what are the 3 most important things to have in the NBA when you come to an offseason? 1, draft stock. Knicks got, check. Number 2, money in the bank. Knicks got, check. And the other third thing is a player, a superstar, a star player that you could trade him for in the middle, with some pieces to bring in that superstar.
Or somebody that could lure in another free agent.
Yes, which they don't have. They have R.J. Barrett, and that's it. So, 2 out of the 3 things the Knicks have. And by the way, they have Leon Rose there, who is was his agent.